So it's all to play for still.
I think so. Do you want to bet against us?
Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to For the Love of Pomegranate podcast. Self and Paddy, on the spur of the moment, just said we jump on and do a quick little preview because we may not get a chance to do so later on. Obviously, Brighton at the weekend, Brighton away at the weekend. I know, Paddy, you were thinking about going to it with Stephen, your son, but obviously that isn't happening. Or is it happening? Maybe something has changed since I was speaking to you 2 weeks ago about it.
Yeah, well, what changed was I couldn't justify going over to spend the money to watch what we've been currently watching, so I've changed my mind and put this trip on the long finger. So we might do another one in a few weeks if things improve, but I just couldn't do it to myself, to be honest.
Well, there's honesty for you.
Nice positive start to the podcast, huh?
Exactly. Nice honesty to start the podcast. But we've got Brighton at the weekend, Paddy. I know that you've watched the press conference at the moment. Look, I suppose when you're in the situation that we're in as Aston Villa, we're going to hang on every word that's been said. We did it, I suppose, after the Newcastle game, and there was changes that were said to be made. The changes weren't made. Well, there was one change made. That's unfair to say, and he made reference to it in his pre-match conference or pre-match comments just immediately prior to the game. What was your view of the press conference today, Paddy, and what did you make of it?
Well, it got off to a great start with somebody asking him about what the players thought about Ukraine, which begs belief that we get 10 minutes to listen to our esteemed leader, and somebody asked him about Ukraine, like as if we don't have enough to worry about. This is our release, and there's some gobshite asking him about Ukraine. So that annoyed me straight away. And then I sent you a snippet from the podcast where he said he thought they did very well against Watford. Now, I know what he was saying. He was saying that the figures will tell you they had more possession, more shots, all that kind of stuff. But that really got me, that one.
We spoke about it.
That's why you're asking me about it.
That's exactly. I'm putting you on the spot. That's what I did because
Yeah.
we sent messages back and forth about it.
Yeah, it didn't bother you too much, but it bothered me.
No, talk is cheap. Talk is cheap, regardless. Good talk. Like it's great when you've got when you're talking about when signings come in and stuff like that. But I always just find the Friday press conference, no matter who the manager is, no matter what the team is, once you get to top flight football, it's all media trained within an inch of its life. And there's no way that he was going to turn around and say, "Well, I went in there and I booted 5 of them up the arse last week," and that's essentially what we've been, what's going to come out of the weekend. Like some of the questions that are asked are fine. Some of the questions that are asked are softball to get him into the press conference, and that's fine. The only press, as I said to you, the only press I'm interested in, the only press I'm interested in dealing with is the press of our midfield next on Saturday, and how we press their fullbacks and how we press the likes of Motor that would be playing in that kind of central attacking midfielder role. Apart from that, everything else is consequential, I think, for me.
Well, I would like another press to be the press to grow a pair of balls and ask them the hard questions on a Friday, which none of them do. Even Blue Nose Tom Ross doesn't ask a hard question on a Friday. So we're getting absolutely nothing from him, other than what we see on a Saturday afternoon, which isn't good enough, and it has to change tomorrow, which is why we're here.
Look, yeah, and look, you can. If everybody wants exactly what they want to be told on a Friday, that's well and good. That's the one. For me, makes no difference. He could have come out and said, "I'm going to start 11. I'm going to start 12 players and see if the referee doesn't notice." And it wouldn't have made blind bit of difference to me. On Saturday, it'll be all said on the field.
Yeah.
But look, I suppose it's interesting because there just has been a lot of chatter over it. And one of the things I took away from it was that he mentioned, and it is a sobering reality, that the Aston Villa haven't finished above 10th in the Premier League. Granted, we were out of the league for a period of time. Haven't finished above 10th in the Premier League in over 10 years. So, that's something. That's factual, and that's to be borne in mind, I suppose, when we see the inconsistency that we're seeing at the moment. It's a historical inconsistency that we have, and somebody's going to get it right at some stage, but there are going to be ups and downs in it. And that's one thing that took it
it's
from
a historical inconsistency, as you say, but he's been brought in to change that, so change it and stop talking about it.
Yeah,
you know, stop
12 games to change it. You know, like, who's to say that? Who's to say we don't go out and win 2-0 at the weekend? You know, that's why the Friday press conference he can't win. You can't win anything in the Friday press conference.
Well, don't come out and tell us the week before that you're going to make changes and make one change.
That's why, Paddy, you
which
can't
everybody
win.
else. It's pointless
when you talk. Yeah, but you can't win no matter what you say.
Yeah.
No matter what you say. If he said he was going to make no changes, he would have been flat. He would have been flattened in the court of public opinion as well. You just can't win. The only way that this will all go away is a 1-0 win at the weekend, a 1-0 win at the weekend after that, and so on and so forth. Yeah, it's going to be on the field.
It's not going away because we're after having 3 very poor performances, and it needs a huge change in fortunes, and that's got to start this weekend, because if it doesn't, we've got a number of hard fixtures coming up in the next few weeks. So we'll be back to making excuses and talking about other stuff, but it needs to change this weekend. His tactics needs to change ever so slightly, otherwise I think Brighton could do a number on us again.
And Paddy, that's what we are going to do today. For all those people that aren't watching live today, you're missing out on the wonders of technology, because today, Paddy, you're going to tell Stephen Gerrard how he's going to win this game at the weekend, because we have a tactics board. Yes, we have it. We have a tactics board, and we're going to use it. Let me just make a few little adjustments here to the perfect. So what we have is here on the right hand side, we have our playing squad. I've obviously left out Robin Olsen because, barring an injury, I don't think Robin Olsen is going to be playing. I even debated about putting in Emi Martinez in there because we know he's going to be in goals. Went down through it, obviously added in Ben Christine in there as well. Young Tim is in there. Carney's in there. This is the squad that we have to work with, minus Marvelous Nakamba. There's 20 players, outfield players there. And that's what we have. Okay, so you're laying out the team, Paddy Kelly, in a turn of events on the front page of the Birmingham Mail. Kelly comes in from Ireland to rescue Villa. Lay out your team. Now, before you do it, I think I'm going to pop up this here. The last time that, let me see here, the marvels of technology. Oh, I'm moving everything around the place. Talk amongst yourselves there, everybody. This is making for riveting conversation. So last time Brighton won a game was against Watford, ironically enough. And this is the formation. This is their position map from when they played. And no, 2, 13, 9, 18, 15, and 3 are not their defense. Their defense is the part of the field with the least amount of players in it. So just for reference, we'll leave that there. And I'll actually just lock that into position there, just so that you can see where they're lined up. Now, obviously, they're not going to line up in exactly the same positions, but it's a point of reference, I suppose. So I presume we're going to have Emi Martinez and goals in Paddy's land.
So what are you doing? That? Are you picking a team here based on
you're picking the team, and I'm just moving them.
How I would set them out, or how I think Gerrard would set them out?
Oh, how you would set them out?
All right, okay. Left back, Luca Dean.
Left back, Luca Dean.
Is that's
right back? Oh, that's right back position, isn't it? Yeah, my left from my right. I presume Matty Cash is going to be
Matty Cash right back. Yeah.
I don't want to presume anything. This is Paddy Kelly. Who knows?
And then Mr. Mings and Mr. Konza.
Mr. Konza. Good to have him back as well, by the way, Konza. I think, and I think we see, it's just nice to have that partnership back.
Yeah. Now, this is where I would change things up. I would play 2 holding central midfielders.
Okay.
And that is Callum Chambers.
Yes.
And Douglas Luiz.
So Douglas of Luiz. Okay, perfect.
All right.
I'm going to spread them out there just because it looks better.
Yeah, well, the the reason you're actually right to spread them out, because that's why I've picked them that way, because I want the two of them to do the jobs that we've had Ramsey and McGinn doing.
Yeah.
So now comes the problem, because we have to choose which one of or both of Ramsey and Louise are going to miss out here, or Ramsey and McGinn. So, in order to shut up shop and make sure we don't concede goals and catch people on the break, this is what I'm going to go with. So through the middle, in the 10 role will be Mr. Coutinho.
Coutinho. Put him up here somewhere. Yeah. Oh, we'll play him as a deep line 10.
And then off him to the right, I would have Emi Buendia.
From Argentina. There we go.
And on the left, Jacob Ramsey.
Okay. Jacob, JJ Ramsey, right?
And as they're usually quite a high press, it's Danny Ings up front.
Daniel William. I think it's Daniel William. He is Daniel William Ings. Right.
Well, okay. So there's people shouting at the screen here, and I know there is. They're looking, going, "What is this guy on drugs?" That's the way I think I think that's how we can stop Watford scoring tomorrow. The reason I asked you was that how I would play it. That's how I play it. Do I think that's how our manager would play it? No, absolutely not. But that's, if I was picking the team tomorrow based on form, based on the result we need to get tomorrow, that's how I'd pick it.
No, Paddy.
And obviously, everyone that listens knows that my favourite player in the squad is John McGinn. And he's the one that's left out. Because I am not saying he should be left out. I just think to fit this formation the way I would like it done, wouldn't it be great if we were chasing the game to take off Callum Chambers and have an effervescent John McGinn on to change the game? But I'm hoping it won't come to that. With that lineup, I think that's very solid, and we don't have our two effervescent midfielders playing at left back and right back. So anyway, discuss.
I will. I've got arrows down here and everything, Paddy. If this is full Jamie Carragher Skyboard now. If you want to use, explain it a small bit better, because I will be using them. I didn't put them there for show, like. But yeah, look, I think there's merit in that. There's absolute merit in that team. I don't think there's a hope in hell that's the team that starts, but then again, I don't think there's a hope in hell the team I'm going to put out will start either. So that's why this is that's why there's the beauty of this. I can move the ball around here if you want me to move the ball. I don't know who wants the ball there, but I think, look, just given the amount of players here, I think we're in for trouble regardless, and I think just see everything within Brighton is developed to protect. It's all about protecting and then hoping that Lamptey, Cucurella, or Motor through the middle can get something rocking. That's the way Brighton work. People might laugh, but Brighton work with Lamptey and Cucurella in the same way, specifically Lamptey. They work in the same way as kind of like we did with Jack Grealish. It was protect everything else, and then here's your out ball. They've obviously got Motor in the middle as well. And I was reading a statistic earlier on. I said it on the Villa View, was that Brighton are the masters of turning losses into draws. They've drawn 14 games in the last two seasons. Actually, really interesting. They had the same ratio of wins, losses, and draws in the last season. 9 wins, 14 draws, 15 losses. Now, they did finish 15th and 16th in the league. But this year, they've got 7 wins, 12 draws, and 6 losses. Whereas we've got 8 wins, 3 draws, and 13 losses. So, guess what I'm getting at here is that we turn losses into draws. Then we're looking an awful lot more healthy as a team, and something we haven't done since we've been back in the Premier League. But for me, if that was the team that was named, obviously people would have eyebrows raised that Callum Chambers being in midfield. It's going to split people. People will say it's great. Other people will say it's panic. Yeah. But that team, I suppose, really the difference, the one difference I would make to your team there is I'd bring Jacob Ramsey more into the center. I'd play him a small bit more withdrawn, and I'd go with Buendia and Coutinho a small bit further wide. I would make sure that they go a bit wider. And the reason that I'm bringing this into play is because with my formation, I'm definitely going to be playing people wider to create more space through the middle and to stretch Brighton outwards, as opposed to, because you're not going to stretch them front to back. They're going to concertina up. They always do, and we stretching them wide is the best way to do it. Specifically, if you play Ings up top, because Ings isn't going to stretch them laterally, or isn't going to stretch them horizontally. Vertically, I can't get my laterals, my horizontals, or my verticals right. He's not going to stretch them vertically and behind. I think because of that reason, because they've got a high line, I think we might even see Ollie Watkins there. But which is converse to what you said. Just out of interest, why do you think that Ings works better against the high line? Not that it's wrong or anything, but why do you think he works better against the high line?
I just feel if you give him 15 yards to run into on a true ball, that he's going to do a better job than Watkins. He's a better finisher. I think with a run of games, that will be the choice of the manager to play Danny Ings all the time, especially when we get against the high line, which in general is what you have with Brighton, because it's so compact. And I just think he'd be a better man at doing it.
Cool. Can't disagree. Like, as I said, there's nothing to disagree with against there. I know we're up against time, Paddy, and I know that you have a very hard stop in less than 3 minutes time. So I'm very, very quickly going to go through my team. My team isn't a hope in hell of starting, but I think that if we're going to beat Brighton, our fullbacks are going to need to stay back a small little bit. I would have hard and fast rules as to how far that they could go, specifically from the fullback position. Cash and Dina would be, anybody who's listened to the podcast for a long period of time knows I love the Ahmed El Mohammedi's long crosses in behind, from deep positions. Team is perfect for it. Even though they've got 3 centre halves, one of them is going to be Shane Duffy. Perfect crosses in behind. I don't think Callum Chambers plays, so I take him out and I replace him with John McGinn in my role. It's not ideal to have him back there, but I think that having himself and Luis back there, and I know people are going to be screaming saying, what do they have to do to get dropped? I don't know, because I've named the 20 players we have there. For me, they're the two best midfielders, even though they've got crap form.
And the people who are screaming, saying what have they got to do to get dropped? My opinion, it's they to an extent they are, but I believe that this is a system problem, not a player problem. So I don't see why we will be dropping anybody. But anyway, go ahead.
So I bring in, you guys have seen there, I've brought in Leon Bailey to stretch people wide. I think Coutinho starting out on the left, that's where he did all his damage for Liverpool. I know playing in the 10 position again for Brazil, he played brilliantly. I dropped Jacob Ramsey in there into that hole. I'm okay with Jacob Ramsey playing in there. I don't think he needs to be played out in the left. I don't think he needs to be played out in the right. Give him the big boy shoes, put him in the middle of midfield and let him run forward. Let him pick up that ball and let him run at those 3 centre halves. If everybody concertina is up there, he is cute enough to be able to get the ball out to the likes of Coutinho out there. I don't want Coutinho picking the ball up in traffic anymore. I'm sick of it. Absolutely sick of it. I want him out there cutting in, making a run past things. I want Bailey doing exactly the same. It's all predicated on the fact that our fullbacks are going to have to be a bit cuter. So Bailey has the option to go straight, which is what he likes to do, or he has the option to come inside. With that being said, I think Ings is. I would take Ings out, not because he played poorly or anything like that. I would take him out and I would play Watkins, just because I would tell Watkins run around and drag Veltman out as far as you possibly can, or drag Shane Duffy somewhere, because it's paramount that we've got people running in around them. Ings could do the job as well. I just think Watkins is better at it. And Coutinho, basically what we need to do is I'm after moving everything here. We need to get Coutinho in such a position that we can get space around him, get huge space around him. And look, I'm okay if he's up against Tariq Lamptey, that's fine for me, because that means the Veltman has to come out here to protect Lamptey. And I would fancy Coutinho against those 2 players out there, because whatever Lamptey does going forward in his wicked pace, he's only all right defending. And I back Philippe Coutinho all day over him. The big thing for me with Aston Villa is going to be this position here, this space right in here. It's keeping in here. That's a massive square, but you know what I mean? The area in here around the center circle, trying to clear out that area. So that we can either have an avenue forward towards Watkins, or if we can't clear out that area, make sure we're dragging players with runs into that area, so we're clearing out the areas in the wings. Against Watford, all we did was everybody moved through the center and everybody moved up the wings, and all they did was they just parked people on the back of their with a lower line and completely stifled us. So for me, I play Martinez in goals, Digne, Mings, Konza, Cash, McGinn and Luis deeper. I'm okay with them spraying passes. They don't need to do a whole pile. I play Jacob Ramsey for a small bit further forward, not like in a massive 10 role. I play 2 6s and an 8. Coutinho and Bailey run themselves to within an inch of their lives. And then we've got Ollie Watkins doing the same up top. And what's going to break down Brighton is consistent runs across the face of the back three and consistent runs into midfield. So that is basically what I would do. It's not sexy. It's not brilliant. But it's what we have. And I think when you write out all the players that we have, you know, if you're a manager that's searching for answers, you know, going to somebody that's 19, like Tim from the start, or going to somebody like Callum Chambers could happen. I just don't think we see it.
I think the only change tomorrow is Konza for Chambers.
And I think this ball's going to go in here, and Watkins is going to take the ball. He's going to score it. Just like that. Except that went wide, even though I was clicking on the ball there. It went wide. But yeah, I think Konza in for Chambers. I think that's going to be the only change, and I think we see Buendia in there. But if he's going to change it, he's going to change something. And I think for me that this gives serious options. So does yours. But I think whatever happens, we need to have a bit of a buffer zone or a blocker, or at least, like, defense is a rumor within this team at the moment. You know, it's a rumor that we have to defend. Yeah, that's what we need to get sorted as well tomorrow.
Our biggest problem is at fullback. We need to watch Lamptey and Cucurella. Cucurella destroyed us in the first half. I was at the game we beat them. He was phenomenal in that first half. I watched him coming towards me up and down that wing, heading towards the whole end, and he's a serious boy in attack. But if we can pen him back, I think we could do damage. But I'm still a little bit broken from last week, so we'll wait and see what the team sheet is like before we go making predictions.
Yeah, exactly. All right, guys, we're going to leave it at that. And best luck to everybody who's traveling to the game at the weekend. Shout your absolute nuts off. And we'll be back again with a team sheet tantrum tomorrow, 10 minutes before the team is announced. What time is that going to be again, Paddy? 10 to 2? 10 to 2. We'll be back tomorrow with a team sheet tantrum. And then we'll see if our prophecies come into the fold. Thanks so much, everybody, for watching. All the best. Stay safe. And all that's left to say is up the Villa.
Up the Villa.